All right, hello and welcome to another free on-page course. My name is Josh Bashinsky. Today I will be going over the basic steps of on-page using a very powerful tool called SEO Copilot. And I will be muting myself because I can hear myself in the background. So there, I muted myself. There we go. And so if you guys have any questions at all, if you're watching live on YouTube, by all means, ask any questions on the right-hand side of the chat. If you guys are here in the Zoom call, by all means, you get to ask me privileged questions or private questions if you want that I'll answer privately. Just go ahead, put them private in the chat and/or just ask them publicly and I'll read them out. And I'll save them for the end. I already got some questions from RB, so I saved your question there, RB. It's a great question. I will definitely answer that at the end. And so without any further ado, let's get started. If you have any friends who are trying to learn SEO or you think that they would benefit from a free on-page course, by all means, go rope them in, grab them, give them the invite and send them into the call. I'm sure we're going to be increasing our revenues tremendously today and simplifying the SEO process quite a bit. So let's get started with that. Okay. So I don't need PowerPoint right now. Turn off PowerPoint. Okay, so here we are. So here is SEO Copilot. You can find that at SEOCopilotAI.com. Just a quick 5-second sales pitch, SEOCopilotAI.com. You can find it here. We have a free 2-week free trial, and as you can see here, we have some very, very cost-effective pricing for what's going to surely be an increased economic time coming up forward. Okay, Karen, that's a great question. I'll make sure to answer that. If I don't answer it, let me know. If I forget when I go through keyword discovery, let me know. So we have really good pricing, and I think, I mean, for these kind of low prices, and even these prices here, depending on how much SEO you're doing, the ability to really save that much money and save that much time on doing SEO, and really then making sure the AI helps you do SEO right is a godsend. We're kind of in this new age now where AI is kind of the way that people are doing things. The problem is, however, that there's good AIs and bad AIs. Just going into ChatGPT and asking it to write you the best article or just an article on whatever, crypto casino or Spaces NYC co-working or air quality testing Ormond Beach, it's going to give you the most garbage bargain basement article that is not going to do very well. So let me show you a much more sophisticated AI system that we've built from scratch. My mastermind group, Underground SEO University, has done all the science and all the reverse engineering underneath all of this that's required. And my 25 years of SEO experience and my 10-ish years working on AI, either deconstructing them or constructing them, has really helped us build up a very sophisticated system, which is head and shoulders, I think you're going to see better than the other AI tools that are out there, which are basically just admittedly free tools that are just trying to do a bargain basement, quickie kind of grab your email or sell something to you, and the crappiest possible output. It's nothing more than just a straight ChatGPT output. Ours is far, far more complex and far, far more sophisticated and took a lot more engineering and money and time. Okay, so let me get to it then. So as I said, I've been doing SEO for 25 years, and the way to do on-page has tactically shifted. You know, the tactics we would use have shifted, but really the strategy remains the same. And in the on-page campaign, I take it even further back than most people do, and most people start with the let's look at our competitors and find the boosting keywords kind of a deal. But that's already starting one step ahead in the process. What we need to do to have the absolute best results and to be successful at SEO, we need to take it a step back and do what some people call finding niche research or finding the low-hanging fruit, which we call keyword discovery, which is basically finding the searches you should be trying to rank for to begin with. Now, you might be like, Josh, I already know what I want to rank for. You know, I'm a chiropractor in Winnipeg. I want to rank for chiropractor Winnipeg, Manitoba. And the answer is maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. The SEO trends and the search trends for people have changed for the last 25 years. right? Since the year 2000 to now, actually a little bit before that, 1998, 99, when Google came out, the search trends have changed. We have whole different generations. First, it was boomers and Gen X using it. Now it's Gen X and millennials and Gen Z using it. Different kind of cultures, different kind of ways of thinking. They search in different ways. And now we have different technologies as well. They talk into their phones. They use the autocomplete. And so there's all kinds of ways and reasons why the search queries you think people are searching for are not the things that people are searching for. So you need to do research to find out what are people searching for, so you actually pick the right keywords to try to rank for them in the first place. The second thing there that not everyone is considering is that this SEO race, the starter pistol started, again, over 25 years ago, right? And some of your competitors have been accruing signals in Google to try and prove to Google that they should trust them and that they are relevant, highly relevant for the things that people are typing in that they want to rank for 25 years. And so some of these niches are going to be really locked up. They're going to be really tough, right, to rank in. They're going to be really, really difficult. And RB, this is already the reason why you're starting to see some issues. I would suspect, although I'm not sure, I would need to do an audit on your site to know for sure, and I'm happy to do an audit for your site if you want one. Just email me at joshbushinsky@gmail.com. Tell you what I'll do is I'll actually put that here in my name. If you could see the whole thing, I'm not sure. joshbushinsky@gmail.com. Email me anytime. And I'd be more than happy to take a quick look and or do a full audit and tell you exactly why you're not able to, you get the pages, they rank for a while, but then they drop. Typically, in my experience, that is because, and that's the question he asked, he said, he's finding good results in the first few days of publishing, but then after a day or two, ranking falls rapidly. Wondering what your ideas are to keep the rankings up. Here's the first thing you need to do, my friend, is you need to be ranking for the right keywords to begin with. Quite often what will happen is that people, and I'll go all through this more stringently in a second, but quite often what happens is people go for the keywords that were too hard to rank for to begin with, that are very competitive for some reason. What's going to happen is that if your site is not trusted yet by Google, they're going to try you out. And then the users are either going to click on your site or not click on your site. That's one major ranking factor. And then once they go to your page, they're either going to click on a bunch of pages on your site, do some activities on your site, or they're going to bounce back to Google. Those are 2 or 3 other very important ranking signals. And the way you get a win here, the way you get a slam dunk, is you need to build on the easiest keywords to begin with at the level your site is at, right? And you might be like, well, how do I know what level my site is at? Well, let me ask you this. How long does it take for you to rank in Google? When you make a page, any page at all, how long does it take to index the page and rank somewhere in Google? If you can rank anywhere in Google, and then the actual page number makes a difference. But if you can rank on spot 7 in Google within 24 hours, okay, well, they've got some trust in you, right? They're willing to try you out a bit, but page 7 is not really going to help you out, and you're not really going to get any kind of signals that are going to boost you. What you need is you need to build your site up until you've got enough rankings, and then they're going to try you on page 2 or page 1, and then you actually get click-throughs to your site, and then the users actually like what you're doing. They find it high quality. You're answering their questions. It's helpful, useful content. It's all the helpful content that they say you need to do with their helpful AI, and that closes the loop. And then that is one check mark on your site saying, yeah, we tried them for Spaces NYC co-working, and it was a slam dunk. It terminated the search, and it keeps on going like that. You need to build up hundreds of those, depending on your competitors. And that's why that's the second part of it. It is so important to remember that this SEO game has been going on for 25 years, and there's really tough niches that you shouldn't be trying to go for right off the bat, unless you already have a very, very powerful site that can rank on page 1 without even trying. And if that's the case, then you're kind of in the position to start trying the not recommended and the very, very tough keywords that we'll see in keyword discovery in a second. Otherwise, you need to start at the easy keywords. You need to go to the easy keywords, whatever they are, and you need to start building from the easier and average from there and build up trust with Google. And you need to have as many trusted pages relative to your competitors that they have before you can really start going then for the very tough niches or the not recommended niches that typically would make a lot more money. But here's the last thing that I'm going to mention. Well, actually, I had a question here. I bet you it's RB, clarify. RB says, I did follow your advice and I'm only referring to phrases I got from SEO Copilot. Okay, maybe you are, but were they the easy ones? Were they easy or average? Is the first thing that could have gone wrong, right? All you can get, he says easy. Okay, all right, fine, good to know. Then I'll answer the next part of that later on. So remind me, that's the first step. And that's where usually people go wrong in my experience. So that's where it would make logic for me to start answering your question. There's other things, of course, you need to make sure you have. And that is making sure all your scores are in the green and that you built content on the right topic. And that's the next thing in the system. That would be the next thing out of like 5 to 6 different things I would check. That would be number 2. So I'll get there in a couple seconds, or you can answer that now, and I can keep troubleshooting for you. Officer asks, what do we do if I'm a chiropractor, the main keyword is spine adjustment, but that is too hard to rank for, but an easy one is spine adjustment course, but my business is not offering any type of course, then what do we do? Okay, great question. I will continue and answer that here, but I'll paste it in here in case I forget. Okay, RB, great. Okay, and then the third part of keyword research that a lot of people don't realize is that there's going to be some really weird holes, right? There's going to be really weird chinks in the armor. Because again, this war has been going on for 25 years. And so settlements that were once very well protected are not protected anymore because Google has wiped them out, so to speak. So you're going to find these weird gem keywords. Let me see if I can find you any here. What was I doing recently? You see, I've done a lot of local ones recently. I think it was I think it was this NYC co-working space. Yeah, you're going to find ones that for some reason, all of a sudden, because it's a new thing people are typing in, or because it used to be really tough to rank for, but then Google wiped out all your competition because they were too spammy, and it suddenly becomes very easy to do. And so that's the third part you need to find out is what are these strange gem keywords that if you don't cast a very wide net, you never ever would have found in the first place. That's the final component to keyword discovery. So for keyword discovery, which is where you need to start every single SEO campaign to ensure the maximal chance of success, it's the first step you need to do. It's even like step 0, if you will, because a lot of people think the first step in OnPage is looking at your competitors to see their keywords. No, the first step after 25 years experience and where the vast majority of SEO campaigns go wrong or go right is in the find what searches you should be trying to rank for to begin with and base everything off of that to start off. And it depends. How powerful is your site? How quickly can you rank on page 1 without even trying? You can't yet. You need to start easy or average. You need to build up from there. And what you need to do is start building from the easier or average, the ones that have the most money, build up from there, and make a lot of content, right? You need to have comparable content to your competitors. And some of your competitors have tens of thousands of pages. So that means you need to have at least thousands of pages. The good news there is that on the vast majority of sites I do audits for, they have 10,000 pages, but only 2,000 of the pages roughly are good pages. The other 8,000 are crawled or not indexed or not ranking at all. And that is a huge boat anchor and problem for them. That is a huge benefit for you that every single page you make, Google likes, they try to rank it, and you stay in the rankings because you have the trust. Your pages have the trust because they have the best green scores, but also your site has the trust because you have other trust factors that are off-site factors and on-site factors that have nothing to do with OnPage that I would teach in SEO University. Those would be the next steps. Those would be steps 3 to 5 in answering RB's question of things you need to do to have trust. And you only need to do it if your competitors also have it. If your competitors don't have it, if your competitors only made it to step 1 or 2 in this process, or they skipped 1 and 2 and they only did 3 or 4, well then doing the on-page is more powerful. Starting this way is more powerful, and it'll work faster, and it's faster, easier, sexier, better, because it'll get you more money sooner. That's the other thing about doing proper keyword discovery research, is that you sort by final return on investment, and you start building for however much or little money there is in the niche. You start building for the keywords that are the easiest, that also make you the most money, thus maximizing statistically the chance that you will get into the revenue stream that you're trying to get into faster. Instead of trying to build the toughest keywords that make no money, that'll take 6 months for you to rank for, and do that for whatever mistaken reason, because your client said this is what they want to rank for, or this is just what you guessed, or you got terrible keywords from SEMrush or some other tool that has no idea how difficult it is and no idea how much the keywords make. And so you tried to build for these first. It took 6 months to do it. It cost you more money, and you didn't make any money when you finished. That is how businesses fail, guys, right? I keep saying this very controversial thing, but I'm going to keep saying it because until it sinks into everybody in the industry, ranking number 1 is not how you win at SEO, right? Let me show you. Ranking here is not how you win at SEO. Just as an example, ranking number 1 in Google is not how you win at SEO. Oh, I'm echoing. Everybody, if you don't mind muting yourself, that way. Let me see here. How do you mute everybody from this screen here? Don't know how to do that. Yeah, okay, I don't hear it anymore. So if you guys can make sure to mute yourselves, I would appreciate it. Ranking number 1, ranking right here is not how you win at SEO. Ranking here is not how you win at SEO. Ranking here is not how you win at SEO. It has nothing to do with the position. Nothing to do with the position. That's the least of your worries. You need to rank number 1 faster, easier, cheaper, in a risk-free way, in a certain order, or Google is not going to try you out. Or they're going to try you once and then they're going to drop you, which is what sadly many people experience, including what RB experienced. Because there's a certain order to things, the way you need to do this. And the whole process needs to be cheaper, faster, easier, making more money sooner, in a way you can iterate quickly, faster than your competitors, and in a risk-free way that is not building in problems for the future. That, and only that, is the way you win at SEO, by starting on the keywords that make the most money faster, easier. So you're ranking in a month or 2, and you're starting to make money in a month or 2. Please, please, please tell me in the chat that that makes sense, right? That is just a simple business process analysis. And that's where SEO shines, is when you have an iterative process to make high quality content. Officer says, yes, that makes sense. Omar says, yes, makes sense. Great, perfect. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for interacting. It helps me teach better. RB says, absolutely, perfect. I'm glad that made sense. And so here's the good news, right? It takes not that long to build content, to find the right keywords and build content in SEO Copilot, right? I have a general rule of thumb. And here's another thing. In the leaked API documentation, I don't know if you guys knew this, but my SEO University has had our little grubby hands on this for months now. The entirety of Google's ranking factors were leaked online for 2 days. And we have a copy of it, the entirety of their ranking factors. And let me show you some of these ranking factors: biasing, per doc data, blog per doc data, crowding, groups, images, animations, image repositories, legal citations, etc., and the main one, 1783, the main per doc data, per document data, the annotations they put to a page, aka a document, to rank it. And in here, so we have all of the ranking factors here just here they are. Just here you go. Here you go. You think that people say spam's not a ranking factor? Wrong. Look how many spam ranking, de-ranking factors there are. It goes on, the list goes on and on and on and on. Spam rank, spam score, spam brain. There are hundreds of ranking factors. Most of them are there to demote you, quite frankly, because Google has an embarrassment of riches, right? Their job is, they're not a search engine, they're a censorship engine. Their job is to filter out the trillions and trillions of spam pages that people make every year. And then after that, boost or score the remaining seemingly relevant, seemingly high quality, seemingly trustworthy pages after the fact. So there is a certain process we need to take to make sure that you have the rankings. Oh yeah, and in one of the ranking factors in here that people have speculated for years as a ranking factor, and this leak confirmed it, is content velocity. The velocity at which you add high quality content, not the velocity at which you add spam content. That's a de-ranking factor, right? That's one of these spam factors here that they're trying to catch. But the velocity at which you add high quality content is itself a ranking factor. So and now this is totally dependent on your competitors actually. In truth, if you joined SEO University and you asked me this question, I would say no. What I say in public is just a general rule of thumb. In truth, it depends on your competitors. Some of you in local, trying to rank roofing in El Dorado, you could add 1 page a month and you'd probably be fine because your competitors aren't adding anything. Maybe, I don't know. I need to look at your competitors. If they've hired a company to add 5 pages a month to their blog, well, then you better match it. And your pages better be higher quality. But that's just in local, guys. That's just in local, right? And that could be dead wrong. I've seen lawyer sites that add 500 pages a month. And I'm sure anyone who's worked in the industry for a long time has seen that too, right? It all depends on how many high quality pages your competitors are adding or they're going to add in the future. Because here's the other problem. Look how much they pay per click for this. They pay $44 per click. There's good money behind this, even though there's only 40 searches, right? They're going to eventually hire an SEO guy. And the SEO guy is going to start adding content in the future. And it's a race. You want a head start. So that's why I give the general rule of thumb. It really depends on your niche, and it could be far more than what I'm about to quote. But at bare minimum, you want to be adding 5 pages a day, 5 days a week, 25 pages a week, 100 pages a month. That is really the way to guarantee that any of your given pages, and that's step number 3, RP, that's the only way to guarantee that any of your pages are going to be considered consistently in a consistent manner. Because it looks like, well, this is a real publisher, a real business. There's some step 4 and 5. This is a real business that we can tell online, that is a real content media producer that always gives me the highly relevant content because you built from the easy or average to begin with, where the other SEOs have no idea what they're doing when it comes to making it relevant and helpful to that content. And so we tried out their pages, and statistically, we got the slam dunk. We got a check mark. We got the check mark win that we were looking for. I can draw on this. We get check mark for this page, check mark for this page, check mark for this page. They ranked your pages here. People clicked them. They liked them. Other stuff happened. Those are, again, parts of step 4, 5, and 6. That to answer RB's question. That has to happen in certain ways and certain things. Don't try to fake it. Don't buy fake traffic to try and fake these signals. Google is very good at detecting that. And then you get boosts, right? No, so if you want to know exactly how to do the full thing, you need to join SEO University. That content I have in private courses. By all means, you can join. I give a good hefty discount to people who are paying SEO CP customers. This is my private mastermind group. The full name is Underground SEO University. We prefer being underground. We like being underground. We want to stay out of Google's radar. We want to stay out of the radar of the white hat idiots who would come into the course, take all the stuff, and then tell Google about it. I saw at least one student from SEO University in here today. If they want to say in the chat how much they like it or don't like it, or if they think it's worth joining, a purely That's solicited. I just solicited, so it's not unsolicited, but a purely. I haven't paid them to say this, by the way. This was not set up ahead of time. If they wish to do so, that would be great. If they don't, no worries as well. Sorry for putting you on the spot. But gone is the age where we can just say publicly what the ranking factors are. Google will find that out and destroy us. And we have lost tons of ranking factors over the years that we were abusing tremendously to get crazy rankings that we couldn't believe Google left this loophole, and then Google found it within a month after us finding it. Like 5 different times that happened. Karen says, amazing group, so much material. I'm learning new every day, and I've been doing SEO for 15 years. Great, Karen. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's worth the price. It's worth the price because, quite frankly, people don't realize the difference between the propaganda that the SEO industry spews out and the real science of what really will rank you. It is a night and day difference. And Google has made it that way on purpose, and we have too. Again, because we had to stay underground, because we spend tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours to find what the real ranking factors are. That is, I'm not giving that away for free. That cost me an arm and a leg to do, and it took me 10 years to build this all up. And you don't want me to give it away for free, because then Google would find it out and it would be gone next month. Karen says, and Josh is extremely helpful with lots of insights. Oh, thanks, Karen. I appreciate that as well. Okay, so yeah, so that's why you need to start with keyword discovery. It is such an important. It's such an important thing to start off with. You would be very, very surprised at how important it is to start with this process. And it used to be 25 years ago. This was like, of course, everybody knew this. This is how we started. You start with the what searches should you be ranking for research, or the keyword discovery, or the niche research. It doesn't matter if you're like, Josh, niche research is only for affiliates. I don't do that. No, everybody does this. This is a general SEO thing you do. Local to global, in-house consultant, rank and rent, digital real estate, parasite SEO, any and all kind of SEO you do needs to start with this process, or you're going to try to rank for keywords that are too tough, that don't make enough money, and it's going to take you too long to rank for them, and it's not the slam dunk process you need to follow of ramping up. Let me show you the difference. So I show this on a fairly regular basis too. Again, apologies if people have seen this a million times. They're like, yeah, Josh. For example, this site started using SEO Copilot right here. See the boost from here? There's that one, but there's a much better example here on my old client, Gary's site, Jagbits, where I was adding SEO Copilot content to this directory specifically. And this is what it looks like when you've been building up for a long time. So adding pages to the site. First, it'll try you and it'll look like this. Does this look familiar? Dots and dashes in the rankings. This is how it'll start. And then you build up easier pages, average pages, getting to maybe very tough over here by now, kind of a deal. And you keep building up and they keep trying you and you get a slam dunk from that. Admin asks, does the software reference your domain to rank your difficulty score? Is it a generic difficulty score? Great question. The difficulty score here is a custom formula and a complex chain of thought ideation AI, which goes through and thinks about how to make a much more sophisticated difficulty score based on my 25 years of experience and based on our 10 years of scientific testing to prove what the ranking factors are and to prove the most scientifically valid way of determining what a competitive difficulty score would look like. Tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs only take this into account, only backlinks, that's it. I have 15 factors here. 12, I think you see in the front, a few in the back that I don't share, but they're used. And to determine what is a what is a difficult page or not. So let me just have a sip here. So it is not generic. It's custom created. And the other part of your question was, does it reference your domain rank? No, it doesn't, because if you're asking specifically about domain rank, like DA or DR, that's not that important as a ranking factor anymore. It's not even the top 3 ranking factors anymore. I mean, it's not terrible. Don't get me wrong, to have a high DR or a high DA, but it's like, it's really far down on the list of what we do and how we do it. But however, if you think you have a high domain authority, or you think you have a high DR and it'll matter, you can click this, and that'll affect the difficulty scores that are created for that particular report. Just be careful if you're clicking this on or off, and you're making a comparison on this level of like, what business should I get into? Should I get into bathroom renovation, or should I be getting into something else, like whatever it is? Should I be getting into creatine gummies, or should I be getting into air quality testing, or whatever it is? Sorry, one second. Let me make a couple of notes here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so when you're making comparisons, like which business should I be in, which ranking factor should I be going for, which business should I be in, which niche should I be in, what makes more money, what seems just generally the top 80 queries make this on average, and they're this difficult on average, which ones do I want to guide the client towards when the CEO calls you on the carpet and says, what should we do with our SEO campaign? It's been stagnant for months, just doing the same thing. What are new areas we can go into to make more money? This is the screen you would use at a high level to make those kinds of decisions, theoretically. And then you would drill down to be like, okay, and then what actual pages are we going to build based on what keywords exactly, that kind of a deal. If some of them you click this on, then it's not going to be an apples to apples comparison. That's the only thing that I'll mention. Okay. So practically then, tactically, what do we do? How does this work? Okay, well, you go into keyword discovery, and as you can see here, you do tons of different keyword reports. I just built this 45-page report for a client yesterday. You can build just for that, by the way. You don't have to give this away for free. This is something he paid for specifically, a 45-page report of all these different, obviously he's a contractor in California, as you might have guessed, and around these areas. And this is the areas he wanted to focus on. And I checked to see if they made any money, and I found out that roofing actually makes more money for him. And I said, you should be doing roofing. Can you do roofing? He said, yeah, this makes way more money. This is what you should be doing. Or at least this is what we should start with, as compared to say this or this. This makes the second most amount of money, but not everywhere. So he's like, oh, okay. See, it makes some good money here and here. But otherwise, believe it or not, roofing makes more money consistently than a lot of these things. And so that's where we're starting with, right? And again, building 5 pages a day, 5 pages a week, 25 pages a week, 100 pages a month, that will again give you the content velocity that you need. But not only this, it's going to be just a general ballpark of building high quality pages and what it is you need to do. And that's kind of where I base the statistics off of. So I know that you're going to rank at least 60 to 70% of the pages somewhere. And if you're doing it well, a good 10 to 30% are going to stick on page 1 after a few months. And if you have that velocity, generally speaking, compared to your competitors, as long as they don't have 10,000 high quality pages they're putting per month, because they might, because this is general advice from everywhere from payday loans and herbal dick pills to which are highly competitive to or stuff that's highly competitive that is actually white hat, like tech reviews and things like that, mattress stuff like that. That makes a lot of money and is highly competitive, but is also very white hat, all the way down to the simplest local niches that on the surface barely seem to make any money at all, and are probably barely adding any content. I have to give a one size fits all answer, so that's why I say 5 pages, blah 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 blah. And doing 5 pages a day also from a project management standpoint, when you're using SEO Copilot, is not a lot of work. It's like 2 hours work tops, utter maximum 2 hours work to make 5 pages. Once you've learned the system up and you kind of know how to use it, which I'll show you today. So then you spend the other 5 hours a day either building other signals or drinking martinis on the beach, whatever you want to do. And that allows you to take on more clients, take on more side projects, diversify your income in what could be an unstable economic period we're moving into, and enjoy your time more. Okay, so how does it work? Well, you put in just a general keyword, a general seed keyword, or a very specific keyword of something that you want to rank for specifically. Like you can also put in a domain name, like you want to rank for SEO software, or you want to rank generally for something related to photo booth rental or Jaguar parts, or family law, or just divorce, that kind of an idea. And then you drill down and you would find the keywords that are, here's a really good example. Here's an example of the lawyer coming to you and being like, I want to rank for divorce attorney, Los Angeles, California. And the answer is, okay, but you have a brand new site or it's a sick site. Google doesn't trust it yet. We need to do slam dunks. And so this is one of the last keywords we'll build for. We're going to start over here instead, typing in what people type in that is actually easier to rank for than what is you've been asking for. And you just go through that process, right? And if you're like Josh, there's not enough keywords, and you sort by final return on investment, because again, that is going to take the easiest keywords times the most money, and that's how you're going to get this score, right? You get a higher final return on investment by it being easier, and it makes more money per month. Now, the keyword review ballpark is a rough approximate. It could be as much as 50% off, but this, as I said, this keyword difficulty score, not only is it highly sophisticated and complex and representative to the actual SEO environment, not only that, but it has millions and millions of records behind it, making a very statistically accurate number here. So when I say this is on average 4% easier than the rest of the internet, you could take that to the bank, right? That statistic is maybe like 0.5% off, if that. I have millions of records in the database now to base this difficulty score off of. I have thousands of users. Most of them use keyword discovery. So it is a highly robust, statistically accurate system. RB says, for keyword discovery, do we just ignore monthly search volume? Yes. Yes, because building for volume is not how you make money, right? The volume here is a major factor in this calculation, but it's not the only factor in this calculation. And there's plenty of niches. This is a bad example, but there's plenty of niches, informational niches, like in where is like spices, for example. There's plenty of niches like cloves spice, for example, or cloves that have tons of traffic, but actually is a terrible example because people do bid on this, so it does make a good amount of money. So that's a terrible example. Here's one that has really high. There's plenty of niches where there's typically the higher the keyword the higher the traffic doesn't make a lot of money, although this does because it has so many searches. But it's also very difficult to rank for because everybody and their dog has been following the last 15 years of bad SEO advice. Which actually, I should take that back. It wasn't bad SEO advice 15 years ago. Everyone and their dog is building up informational pages to try to rank for because they have high search volume and or they thought they were easier and or they thought that's what Google was looking for. We don't care if it has high search volume. All we care is if it has the higher final return on investment as calculated by the AI. And then you need to drill down and look and be like, okay, but what do we have here? We have Wikipedia, WebMD, Amazon. Okay, well, yeah, good luck. I know it says easier for this. This is a case where the AI might be a little optimistic, although no one is optimizing for this, quite frankly. Clove spice typed in this exact way, nobody is optimizing for it. So I'll stand by my AI and saying, look how little their site focuses on this. Look how some of them have a good page focus on it, yes, but look how little their pages focus on this. Look how no one's optimized for this. This is not as hard as it might appear just by looking at these competitors. This could be where you might want to build a page for and start. But if you're like, Josh, this is, there's ones that are way too hard. This is what it looks like when I look at my keyword report, Josh. It looks like this, not recommended across the board. This is how it looks. Okay, well then what you need to do, is either cast a wider net. You need to go to page 2 and 3 and click on keyword difficulty and run more difficulty reports to find more easier keywords. The other thing you need to do is, if it all looks like not recommended when you sort by final ROI, or you have a site which seems to be a little bit on the sick side, it's untrusted from Google for whatever reason. It could have been around for 10 years. It still might be untrusted by Google because of whatever other spammy things they're detecting, and or being new. You need to build up trust signals. If you're new, you have not built up trust signals. If you haven't been building up trust signals, then you have not built up trust signals. So you have to build up trust signals. New sites and sites that have been around for 10 years but still have not built up the correct trust signals in the correct order of the exact things that Google's looking for, those 6 steps that I was talking to RB about. If you haven't built it up in that exact way, in using the exact things you need to do, then you haven't built up the right trust signals. And then Google's not going to rank you for anything until you build up the trust signals. And in order to do that, you would need to sort by keyword difficulty easier. And even if they don't make any money, you need to build from easier first and move from the bottom and keep going up and up and up and up. Again, building, just as a general rule of thumb, something like 5 pages a day, something like 25 pages a week, something like 100 pages a month, because you need that critical mass of content velocity, and you need that critical mass of site weight. And I have no idea what your competitors are doing. Maybe they're doing way less. Probably, if the niches are making this kind of money, they are doing way more and have been doing way more for 10 years. So probably you're playing a game of catch up in most cases. And that's why you have to be a bit of aggressive on the aggressive side, building up the content. Not only that, it's super easy to do with AI nowadays. Building 5 pages a day before AI would have been impossible to do at a high quality level. Impossible, right? It would have cost you an arm and a leg to hire all those writers, whether they were overseas or not. Now with AI, it is now within the range of possibility. All of the niches are back open. Before AI, I was telling my students, yeah, you got to pick and choose your niches. Some of them are just closed off, and you're just not going to have enough money to rank soon enough, and so those niches are closed. There were still millions of other niches to make money in. Now things have opened back up again, like it's 2001 again, because AI enables us to analyze, cast a wide net, analyze tons of niches that we can try to rank for, see the money behind them very quickly and the ease of rankings very quickly, and then spy on the competitors and build AI models to get the proper on-page scoring keywords, and then to build those pages very quickly at a very high human level, factual, high quality content level. Okay, so like I said, it's very simple to use. You can run a general keyword or a very specific keyword you might want to rank for. You sort by final return on investment, and you would build there first, and or failing that, you would sort by keyword difficulty and start building the easier ones here. And if you have some gem keywords that come up that also make great money, great. You want to try and ranking for that as quickly as possible. And look at this. Here's a perfect example of why do people type this in? I don't know, but they do. I don't know, but they do. And none of your competitors have decided to rank to try to optimize for that, right? Because it seemed counterintuitive. But they do type this in. Now, this is theoretically a great example to show that, people type weird stuff in and you can optimize for it. This might be a bad example, tactically, practically speaking, because it's like, Josh, how do I put that in a sentence? Easy, turmeric, exclamation mark. Turmeric powder on sale today, 20% off. That's how you would get this string in there and get it very close to the actual thing that they're typing in. Turmeric powder, colon. Turmeric is great for reducing inflammation. Learn how today. That's how you would optimize for this. You'd put maybe a little colon here, a little exclamation mark there, and that would be pretty close to optimizing for this exactly. My AI does a really good job in determining easier or not. It could be like one category off. It could say easier and it's actually average difficulty. It could say average and it's actually a little bit on the tough side. But it does a very good job at casting a wide net this fast. It does a far better job than a human does. We had an 8-hour per niche, 8-hour process of doing competitor research to see how difficult the niche was. That's how long it took our group when you're doing it right. And not just guessing wildly, why guess wildly? Just build. You're wasting time, right? But now we use this and we get results like this. By building it up in the way I said, the easy stuff first until you get trust. Your search console is going to look like this, and with dashes like this, and a dash like this, and like a dash like this. It's going to look like that until you build up trust, doing this all the right way, with enough pages to have the critical mass. You can't just build one or two and see how it goes. And then you're going to see this. Or then you've maximized your chances in everything you can do on OnPage to see this, which is about half of the equation, depending on how tough your niche is. And that'll be good enough for about half of the niches. Depending on how tough your niche is, you're going to have to do more than just that. Bubbles, the Bubbles note taker. Is it this Bubbles here? Does anyone know this Bubbles? this is my favorite Bubbles. Sorry, I apologize. I do a lot of these things, so I gotta amuse myself while I'm doing these courses. Okay. All right. So that's how keyword discovery works and why you need to do it. It is crucial. It is the crucial first step you absolutely need to do. If you miss this, it doesn't matter pretty much what you do on the rest of the time. The chances of failure are in the high 80s, at least. RB says, typical SEO talks about pillar pages and clusters of supporting articles. Do you also agree with this, or rather ignore and go for perhaps unrelated terms according to your software? RB, what a great question. I'm going to save that for the end. It's kind of based on keyword discovery. So the answer is, this is complete and utter horseshit. This is more of the, I'm sorry for being blunt, but I'm a blunt guy. This is complete and utter horse crap. Pillar pages are 15 years old. Clusters of supporting articles are one way of building up content on your page, but it happens to be the non-optimal way of doing it. Adding pages is adding pages. And adding pages that are on the same topic are adding pages on the same topic. For example, under roofing, which is what your index page would be based on in a topical cluster, and the only topical cluster on your site is your site. The site architecture itself is a topical cluster. You start with the index page on the general topic, and then everything is underneath it like this, right? For more information on that, join SEO University. This is where 30% of your rankings go right or wrong building this correctly. And that's another one of the step 3, 4, 5 in the process that you need to do, RB. But pillar pages are complete, utter horseshit. Pillar pages are like, if you build a long page, then Google will rank you. Wrong. And if we've tested it wrong, and the API documentation here even says so. After a certain number of words, like 1,000 to 3,000 words, it's actually tokens. So I don't know how many words because tokens are word pieces. But after 1,000 to 3,000 words, Google stops reading your content. And the most important keywords are all in the top 100 anyway. So no, it's just totally wrong. It's just, I know it's hard to believe that you mean the whole SEO industry is just snake oil and full of crap and no one really knows what they're doing and they're just guessing, kind of like medical doctors in the 1800s. Like, did you guys ever watch? The answer is yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, that's the way it is. Why is it that no one has disproved all this? Because I went underground, that's why. I've been calling them out for years. Go back in my YouTube channel. But then around 10 years ago, I realized, okay, I can't give free SEO advice out anymore. The commodity, the SEO information is a commodity, and I'm cutting off my nose to spite my face to give it out for free. And I'm just doing everyone a disservice, including myself, because Google is just going to learn of it, and then it won't be a ranking factor anymore. I'm helping Google. RB says, not at all, Josh. Not hard to believe at all, Josh. Glad you're here. Well, I'm glad you didn't take offense to that. My curt nature and my mildly autistic brain that states things bluntly, which I cannot control despite as much as I try to control it, sometimes gets me into trouble. So I don't want anyone to feel bad, when they come here and they're like, oh, I heard this, I heard that. Yeah, you were doing your best job. You're listening to the people who are supposed to be experts. You were doing your best job. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just that those people did something wrong. They lied to you. They lied to you. They either outright lied to you in knowing that this doesn't work, and they're just using it because they have the course from 15 years ago and they're too lazy to redo it, which is what most of their courses are, or they're not sure. They told you something which was not in good faith, right? They have no reason to believe that this works. They're like, my site kind of ranks and I've been kind of doing these factors kind of for years, so I guess it kind of works. Like, that's the best you're going to get, and that's not good enough to be competitive in SEO. That's not good enough for our group. That's not good enough for our group of professionals. So no, and so in a way you do have a cluster of supporting articles to be perfectly fair, but they are related, right? Like, roofing is a general idea, and then I build all these pages, and they're all about roofing. Maybe not all these. This is trailer roofing, so I wouldn't be building that. This is camper roofing. They don't do that, so I wouldn't be building that. But this is all about roofing, and so any roofing here, like how to do roofing, what's the cost of a new roof, what's the best roofing company. These are all roofing queries under the general rubric of roofing, and they want to rank for roofing queries in this area. And so that's why I tailored it to this area, and that's what I will build. So yes, there's clusters of supporting articles in that sense, but the problem with people who do clusters of supporting articles, and they keep asking me to put this in keyword discovery, and I keep saying no, because I refuse to hurt people, right? I refuse to give you a tool to do it wrong. And the way they do it is that they just ask ChatGPT, what are the supporting informational articles? And it makes some bullshit up that is 50% good, 50% terrible. And so it's not efficient enough. You need to build faster, more efficiently, cheaper, nail the ranking factors better than everybody else on your first try, and make more money sooner than everybody else, or you will fail over time. You might not fail in month 1, you might not fail in month 2, but in month 7, you will fail if your business process is not more efficient as an SEO than all of your competitors. And I don't want to just give you, I'm not here for the quick fix. I'm here for the long term. I'm here for another 5 years, at least. I'm here for the 5-10 years that Google is still going to be the dominant search engine. No matter how much people are talking about other stuff, Google still has the vast majority of market share. And it is in no way for sure that they will lose it, like how and why. Despite everyone, don't let social media bias you to thinking that people hate Google. No, they don't. There's still trillions of search queries they do per day and have billions of people using it. And it still has the vast majority, like 80 to 90% of the search share, at least. YouTube being the second biggest one after that. So it's still 2 Google products that use similar ranking factors. that you still need to be building for and get all the traffic in. When it comes to commercial stuff, I don't know if the people will trust the AI to do it. Not this generation, maybe the next. Maybe the Gen Alpha, the kids who are under 10, they might grow up with AI and trust it enough to let it tell them what to buy. I don't think even Gen Z will. So that's still a long time coming, right? And local will last even longer. Karen says, filter keywords? Oh yeah, right, okay. So she asked me, great question now. She asked me, how do I filter them? Very easily, you just say, no, don't want to see this, don't want to see this, don't want to see this. This is one way to do it. Don't want to see this. Or if you have more ones you don't want and only a few that you do, then favorite them. Favorite the ones you want. You're like, okay, favorite the ones you want. And you can see the filters here. You can see favorite and hidden here. You can also, if you, again, this was a feature that my ex-business partner put in here that I do not subscribe to at all. If you want to see the ones that say best, you can filter by this. You could do it that way. You can also search for a keyword as well and be like, okay, I only want the ones that say near me, and I'm going to replace near me with El Dorado. Okay, here's all the near me ones. Great, I'll build for all these, and then instead of saying near me, I'll say El Dorado Hills, CA, because that's what you need to do. You can't build on near me anymore. Not easily anyway. And then you're like, oh, I don't have difficulties for these. No problem. Run the difficulties and you'll get those in a few minutes. So those are the way to filter, and they're pretty good, Karen. I hope that makes sense. Does anybody have any other questions on keyword discovery? And I hope everyone understands how important it is, and you're pumped to use this great tool which saves you hundreds of hours and looks through tens of thousands of lines of code and tens of thousands of competitors to find you the low-hanging fruit in the most efficient way, a way that no human ever could do before. This is more efficient than any human could ever do. This is using the power of AI to truly do something that we were never able to do before. If you're pumped about it, please give me a pumped in the chat. Let me also check YouTube really quick here to see if there's any questions. No questions so far. Fantastic. If you guys have any questions you want to ask in YouTube, by all means, go ahead and ask. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Ask me any SEO questions at all. Any SEO questions, ask me, and I will give you my best answer that I can. I will definitely be able to point you in a direction to get the information or give you the information. Okay, so that's keyword discovery. No one said pumped, so I'm presuming that it's either still confusing or you're not pumped about using it. What else do I need to explain or describe as to why this is so important? What else? What other questions do you have about this? Or if you're like, you know, I'm not pumped, Josh, but I'm good to go, let me know. Just give me a good to go in the chat. And I will literally sit here and wait until somebody does that, because it's this important. If you don't get, if the importance of this hasn't been given to people yet, then I'm going to spend another half hour talking about it, because it's that important. It's more important than everything else in this software. If you're going to skip this and just start building, things are probably not going to work too well. All right, great. RB says good to go. Karen says good. Great. Perfect. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Thank you for interacting. It helps me teach better. Okay. So then ostensibly you'd say the next step is finding the boosting keywords. However, here's the good news. This used to take dozens of hours per page to look at your competitors, to worry and fret over what the ranking on-page keywords are and where to put them and what do I do, and oh no, I have to look at my competitors and how do I do it, and blah, blah, blah. I've got great news for you. We don't need to do any of that anymore. We don't need to do any of that. The AI does it all. In fact, it's so efficient at it, you don't really even need to go look at this stuff. All you do is when you're in keyword discovery, you're on one of these, you find something you want to build on. You're like, okay, I want to build on roofing contractor near me, but I need to add in El Dorado, California for that. Fine. So I'll just copy that, and that's how I'll do this one. But let's say I want to do corrugated metal roofing. Fine. Click this, say find the boosting keywords. I would just put in Tuvalu. Unless you're building in non-English, then you need to select the area you want to rank for. Even if you're like, Josh, I want to rank in German, but not for Germany, just still say Germany so that it gets you the correct competitors to compare against. But if it's just English and it's not specific if it's just English, then I could say, okay, let's use Tuvalu here to strip out all the geolocated signals that I'm going to win just by adding El Dorado Hills, California. So I don't need to see the geographic signals. I know what they are. I want more of just a general on page. Leave all these and say continue. So then it'll go Bing. It'll tell you that it's running this keyword report. Great. The other way to run them is you go here to Keyword Spy. You put this in here, and you would say roofing near me, or roofers near me, whatever it was. Roofers, El Dorado Hills, CA. Again, select Tuvalu. If you select United States, it's not such a big deal. It'll be similar. But the small island nation of Tuvalu, which is disappearing, has like, I don't know, 500 inhabitants, and but it has its own location. It's a .tv extension, by the way, which got popular back in the early 2000s because people who wanted to rank for TV-related queries were registering .tv domain names, even though that's a geolocation for Tuvalu. I use it to strip out because none of this is related to Tuvalu, so anyone ranking here is going to be for their semantic related factors, which is exactly what I want to have the AI analyze and build you models for. And I say start Keyword Spy report. If you click on the reports page, you're going to see the reports. It's going to show you that they're running. You're going to see reports that have been done. And if you've built an article for them, it's going to have a check mark and show you what your numbers are. So let me show you what that looks like. So let me go here to Crypto Casino. A very lucrative query, as you can imagine. Crypto is going to go crazy under Trump. Like Trump or hate Trump, I'm here to tell you some good things. Because of lack of regulation, crypto is going to go crazy. There's going to be a lot of money, and Trump is profiting off of crypto. So it's a safe bet that he's not going to regulate it. So if you ever thought, I really want to start an affiliate or a digital real estate side play or full play, what niche should I get into? What makes a lot of money but is new and still fairly easy to rank for, comparatively speaking? Crypto. Crypto all day long. It doesn't mean you have to buy crypto. Although Bitcoin already jumped up and is going to jump up even further. Crypto, my friends, crypto. And then anything Tesla related, given the close relationship between Musk and Trump. Tesla stuff, CBD stuff, like CBD gummies, and then of course always in these kinds of environments, we use exploding topics, but always in these environments, these kinds of things tend to make a shit ton of money for people to self-medicate, for sure. So all this stuff is going nuts bars. Now is the time to start building these kinds of things out. Esteban says, I'm pumped. Awesome, Esteban. I'm glad you are. Definitely a great idea to start with keyword discovery. Okay, that will save 80% of SEO projects right there. I'm telling you, I've been doing this 25 years. That will save 85% of SEO projects. It's not the only thing you need to do, but you definitely need to start with it. Okay, so RankBrain is great. This is a RankBrain model we built for you. It is one of the major ranking models. I think they even mention it by name here, RankBrain. Although Google, no, they don't mention it by name in this document. But it is what they call the system here. I could prove it to you. RankBrain Google ranking. Google ranking algos. Definitely is one of their ranking algorithms. You can get it right here on, I have it, you can get it right here on the Google blog. I'm not making it up. It's a real thing. They use it. I rebuild you a transformer model. It used to be BERT. Between you and me and the Zoom call, they're probably not using BERT anymore. That's like a 5-year-old language model. As you know, with ChatGPT and OpenAI, and with Apple and Facebook pathetically so far trying to get into that race and failing miserably, OpenAI and Google have now an arms race who can build the biggest, baddest language model. And so Palm 2 is the latest one. It's probably Palm 2, but it works the same. It's still a transformer. And this is very important here. This is something that this AI does for them. And however, no other SEO tool has this, right? It's called query interpretation. In the industry, we call it query intent, but it's actually called query interpretation. Karen knows why. In one of Google's secret technologies, it's leaked that this is actually something they do. Google literally, when they type this in, Google, remember Amit Singhal would always say, he used to work there until he had a sexual harassment scandal and he had to leave. But he was the leader of search for 10, 15 years, something like that. And he would say, we want to know better what you want more than you know what you want. In a fairly arrogant way, but that's what Google does, and they keep doing that. When people type in this keyword, they literally, behind the scenes, change it to typing in this. It's literally that equivalent. They interpret the query between this, we call it query intent, they call it query interpretation. They interpret the query from this to this being the topic. So here's another place, RB, where you might have gone wrong, where if you had changed this topic in the article generation, if you didn't focus on this, and if my AI didn't do a good job of doing this, which 90% of the time it does a very good job doing this, but I don't know what your scores were, if they were in the green for everything, then that's going to be an issue as well, which I'll get to how and why in a second. So this is a very important thing that no other tool does. That's really good, that we analyze for you. And we look at the entire shard collection that comes back. So that's 100 pages. There's no way a human could possibly look at all this and determine what Google really thinks should be ranking for this is actually this. There's no way that a human could do that. And lastly, we also do the competitor HTML widgets. Now, people in the industry call this page type. And again, we look through thousands and thousands of lines of code to determine not only is this element going to be an important element that you should use, it has to be nested in this element that has to have this attribute, that has to have this value. Statistically, this is what people are doing. Statistically, they're doing this, statistically, they're doing this. And so statistically, they're having these things. This tells you the kind of page type you need. But it's not based on just a random SEO guess of lazy SEOs or SEOs who don't know any better that this tool exists, because there's no other tool that will do this for you, right? They just think, oh, schema is a ranking factor. Wrong. All of this is structured language, and all of it is a ranking factor if and only if statistically it is what people in this niche are using. Instead, SEOs just make wild guesses because it was good enough 20 years ago, I guess, 15 years ago. And they've been slowly being kicked out of the industry and losing their shirts and their jobs for the last 20 years. I know more people who have left SEO or lost in SEO than I know who are currently still doing SEO, probably. Although I still have about 100 students in SEO University who are doing very well, so maybe that's not true, but I know lots of people who used to be in SEO who are not anymore. Anyway, let me put it that way. Big names too, big names who are gotten out. Because it's just too complex for them. They just can't do it anymore. Because they didn't start the scientific testing the way I did. And again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm not saying I'm super smart or anything like that. I'm just saying, I studied science at the graduate level. I did a master's degree and I was doing a PhD in an interdisciplinary PhD I did my master's at Dalhousie, a beautiful school in Halifax, which is a beautiful town. If you ever have a chance to visit in fall, do it because it's gorgeous. All the maple trees just turn these brilliant oranges and reds. And okay, question on linking when you're ready. Okay, great. Thank you, RB. Let me put that down here. Boom. Boom. Okay. I'll get to that. Sorry, I missed that. I'll get to that. And then I did my PhD. I was doing my PhD at York University. I did a year of it and then I quit because I realized I was going to graduate and maybe get a job as a sessional instructor somewhere if I wanted to stay in Canada, which I did. I didn't want to move to Europe at the time or the States. And I'd make 45 grand Canadian, if that, a year. And I thought, well, I can make almost 10 times that doing marketing, so never mind. Oops, reverse course, go back to the job you had before. So I was like, oh, okay, never mind. But anyway, I did, good news that came out of that is that I did learn how to do science at a high level. And I do know how to run a scientific program. And so I take that seriously. And that's the only reason why we're so strict and stringent in our testing and how we do it. and how the kind of conclusions we draw. And that's why we've had the success that we've had. And I know that it is a statistical, we call it a vector. It is a document object vector, a DOM vector. They vector towards when you start vectoring towards spot number 1 in the shard collection for this niche, what kind of page elements do they have nested in what kind of page elements that have what kind of properties. And so that means whatever ends up in the HTML statistically is a ranking factor. If all your competitors have schema, then and only then, yes, is schema a ranking factor. But I've got a little secret. Schema is only something that SEOs use. I have never in my life, after seeing hundreds of these come out and hundreds of more I've tested, I've never seen schema come out once. People just don't use it, right? It's like 1% of the pages, maybe 0.1% of the pages have it, of all the pages online. But they use images a lot, and they have testimonials, and they have features, and they have this stuff, all rights reserved, and they have all this stuff a lot. So here's another thing that we produce. Do you need to look at this or worry about any of this? No. We tally everything up. We score all the scores for both the phrase entities and single word entities, which there are both kinds, by the way. And we score them all up, and we do this all for you, and you don't have to worry about any of it. But a good thing to mention and to note is that the HTML widgets are important, and the query interpretation is important, and that's why we automatically use it in the AI system. You can override it, so I don't recommend you do. That might be something that happened to RB, I don't know. But even if you do use it like this, then you still have to make sure your score is in the green anyway. Here's another thing I need to mention. I'm not a lawyer, I cannot give legal advice. This should not be construed as legal advice. I'm not giving legal advice. However, it is a fact that I noticed recently that the FTC has made it illegal to have fake ratings and fake reviews. And my AI will sometimes make them for you. It will pick and choose reviews that it finds online and make bits of them together. This is what an AI does. There's nothing I can do to stop that until I rebuild the next system, which I'm doing to try and save you from this. Now, does this hurt your rankings? No, not at all. Even completely fake reviews and completely fake ratings on a page that says it needs them, these pages ranked on page 1 in 48 hours. So it's not hurting your rankings at all, but it has very recently, to my knowledge, become illegal in the States anyway. If you're not in the States, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, can't give legal advice. You need to go and look at the legality of your own areas. Everybody is responsible for the own content they put on their site. Once you publish it on your site, it is not my responsibility anymore. It's your responsibility. However, I am in your corner. I want you to do well. I don't want you to get sued, or I want you to rank. I want you to succeed, right? That's my business model, is helping you, right? I'm like I'm like a therapist, I guess. Maybe that's a terrible example. I want you to get better. Maybe a therapist is a terrible example because it seems like they just sit there listening to you and they don't do anything for you. So maybe that's a dumb example. I don't want to compare myself to that, but I'm your boxing coach, right? I'm your martial arts instructor. I want you to win the fights you get into. 1,000,000%. I'm trying to help you with that. So I want to say those things for you for sure. So my AI is going to have built in to try and check for this, and CP also is going to say, hey, I see testimonials. In the future, it's going to say this. Are you sure those are real? And there's a way to stick in your real testimonials and have the AI generate that content for you for projects, no problem, saving you time and copying and pasting after the fact. You can also just write them in or copy and paste them in after the fact, of course. But this will remind you, hey, look here. So this is the only thing you'd look at. You look at this and be like, okay, this is the kind of page that it says you need to have. I need an image gallery, apparently. I need product listings for this crypto casino thing. I need ratings and reviews. I need feature details. This is very important. And I need to have this all rights reserved. I need to look like a real business here. Okay, good to know. That's another big clue, another big hint. Okay, good to know. And in this kind of sleazy niche, of course, you need to look like a real business. The more legitimate you look, the better it'll be. Okay. So that's really the things here. The query interpretation I would look at, and I would even look at the competitors. What are they doing? They're doing best Bitcoin crypto casinos. But yeah, okay. So it looks like the best Best sentiment is good here. Also, people ask, is sentiment a ranking factor? The answer, in some cases, yes, in some cases, no. If my AI analyzes that this supposedly is part of the query interpretation, then yes. Okay, it looks like they're doing best Bitcoin crypto casinos, and that's it. That is really what they're doing, and their features, and then a comparison of many of them. So like a review style page. Even if you want to only say yours is the best, you should review a few others and say they're terrible and really be prioritizing yours, and they'll use yours anyway. People are sheep. The one that's at the top, they'll click 95% of the time. So trust me, it doesn't hurt you to compare your competitors here, especially if both the widgets say you need it and the query interpretation says you need it, then you need it. Statistically, to try to really increase the chances of you having access to every single spot on the SERP. Another question for later. Excellent. Thank you, RB. I appreciate the questions. Anyone else have any questions? Please, by all means, ask them, both here and in the YouTube. All right. So these are the only two things, a really pro SEO or somebody who's really being squeaky clean and not doing our carpet bombing approach, doing a more surgical SEO or working for harder keywords, would go in here and just make sure that the test finished these and make sure that the final page you're making has this kind of content. And if you don't have this, go to the customer and say, I need this. We need this. We need this information here. And they're like, well, we don't have any good testimonials. Then ask the question, well, why? Why not? And maybe that's something that would be important to have for these reasons, for your OnPage, and for other reasons, that you would learn in underground SEO University. Okay, the next thing you do now then is you need to build the article. Did you need to look at any of that? Not necessarily. Again, only if you're really being squeaky clean and you're building on tougher niches and you're going a little surgical and you want to make sure you've just dotted every I and crossed every T. Then the last thing is building the article. Now, our article, again, I really have dived into AI really deeply. And I've made a very sophisticated chain of thought ideation writing team that writes the content for you. And it's version 2.1 and it's pretty good. The version 3 that I'm doing right now is going to be even better. It's going to have like 80 different steps it takes. In that neighborhood of steps. It's that sophisticated. But that's what it takes to make an AI that can produce human level, high quality, content that is factual and current to your current timeline and will save you 99% on cost and time. Our current one is really good. The next one's going to be better that I'll be building in the next few months, hopefully before the end of the year. Probably more like January, February release, probably. Given that it's already halfway, it's already 1 week through November. I keep thinking it's October. It's not. It's already November. Okay, well, how do you work this? Well, after you need to build a keyword spy report first. So you do the discovery first, and you do this stage, and you go this stage, and then the article builder. So let me go to one here where, okay, so corrugated metal roofing is finished. We got the BERT information on options, cost, and installation, disadvantages and comparisons. The competitor widgets are simple, looks like the same kind of deal, great. Then we go here and we would generate the article and you see it pulls in the topic. Now, I would leave this alone. However, if you want to give it any extra instructions, you could put them here. You could be like, make sure this is maximally helpful for the customer to choose to make a decision. What to buy and why and what not to buy. You can add in, you don't need to. This is what it's going to do anyway, but you can add in those instructions there. And then the next one is match AI analysis competitor page type recommended. If you leave this text alone, it will use what we saw in the page type. Or I can give it instructions here. I can give it an entire HTML template here and paste it in. Say use this and paste it in. And that HTML template could have testimonials that are real, and could have whatever your author you want to use, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can also do a very similar thing using the custom knowledge base. I click this and I import a file. What does the file have? Let me show you on our website. It needs to have a .txt file extension. And basically, it's a writing guideline. It's a writing guideline that gives the AI all the information. For example, for the keyword CBD oil for cats, I made up a fictitious Ultra Pet TM oil product. And I made a fictitious author. I said, here's the author to use. And I say, use this author profile and very clear, unambiguous instructions, blah, 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 blah. Write about this product. This product, here's what it costs. Here's the ratings, 4 stars. Here's the key points to consider. Here's our real testimonials. These are fake, of course, but you would use real testimonials with real ratings, and it will use all these. If this content is even vaguely has space in the topic, both in the topic to add it, and it is also in the page type to add it, it will use that content and it'll build it for you. Then I could say also make the URL, title, and meta description at the same time, and say go. Boom. So it erased the CP history. CP will warn you when these are in the red. Nothing was built yet, so of course it's in the red. Okay, so while this is running, let's go here to reports. And let's go here to, no, not report. Let's go here to air quality testing, Ormond Beach. Okay, so this is an actual audit I did. I pasted in a page. So this is maybe a bad example, maybe, of pasting in a page. Let me go in here, take this content. Let me go to Notepad really quick. Control C, let's go back here, boom. Let's go here, great, paste that in, save it, oops, no. Paste it in here, boom, okay, great. Okay, so here is a page. Now, this could be a page that is the article generated. This is a bad example, but this is a good example of how you can add in your own content and then have the AI analyze it for you. So I'll rerun these scores. I'll rerun the spam score, the semantic score, the heat score, and the predictability length. Okay, so it thinks it's helpful enough. Heat score is in the green. That means it's insightful enough, it's beyond the obvious, it has a comprehensive description, it's substantial, it has original information or research or analysis. It's the kind of article that could be in a printed magazine or a book. At least it got 8 out of 10 on that. It didn't get 10 out of 10, but it got 8 out of 10 on that. So that is a good green score, but the rest is not good. So let me go through what the rest of it is, and then I'll show you how one would fix it. So the first score here, the most important one, is the semantic score. The semantic score is all of those rated results of the entities that got scored up compared to your competitors. And it is this, we've got tens of thousands of records in the database now with thousands of users. And we have a very high, because we have rank tracking, we have a very high statistical correlation that tells us that you need to have the actual on-page keywords. Believe it or not, it is worse to be lower than the range of scores. It is worse to be lower, to be under-optimized, than it is being over-optimized. You're allowed to be even a couple points over this. So this score is too low. It is, if this score is out, under is even worse, then there's a really big black X on your page of getting it to rank and stick. The next two are the second most important are the spam score and the average predictability length. The average predictability length is the average number of words per sentence that you're allowed that are prosaic and business basic, are the exact kind of words in a row that an AI would select to put in there. We've checked statistically over thousands and thousands of articles now, and the average number of tokens in a row, which are word pieces, but I'll just say words to make it easy. The average number of words you're allowed in a row, on average, per sentence, that would be the exact words the AI would decide to put in there, word after word after word in a row, is 4.1. After 4.1 words on average, it is clearly, I'm not going to say that Google doesn't like it. I'm just going to say statistically it starts to rank worse, is all I'm going to say. That does not mean Google has a problem with AI content. I see high scores in the average predictability length also, quite frankly, in business content. That is this business basic content or prosaic content using very boring language and very often used turns of phrase. At the end of the day, when we couch our terms, these kinds of colloquialisms that kind of would make your eyes roll, that the content is so boring. I've seen scores that humans have written of that kind of content in 5 or 6 in the average predictability length. And so all we know is that statistically, you need to be at 4.13 if you want to guarantee your number one ranking and guarantee that you're going to stick on page 1. The higher you are above 4.13, this is using the math 4.1. The last time I checked it, it was 4.13. The higher you are above 4.13, the less likely it is you're going to rank. But I mean, even being at 0.24, as long as you're still within 4.8, I would start to raise an eyebrow. But, again, unless you're in the most competitive of niches, as long as you have all the other scores in the green, you're probably going to be fine. But if you're in the more competitive your niche, the more I would make sure all these scores are in the green. Another one that is second most important is the spam score. We have spam scores for the URL, for the title, description, H1, and the body content. Right now, it doesn't like the URL. Let's generate a URL, run it again. This should be perfectly fine and get a 0. Yep. So you want, and then we could generate a title. As you can see, it's going to use the boosting keywords that have been scored. We're going to spam score on this. This should probably be fine. Although I don't know what it says after this. Yeah, it's fine. The meta description also we can generate. You also notice the angle, the perks are 10% off in fall. Bottom of the sales funnel. Continue. You notice the meta description uses different boosting keywords than this. It's a different AI for this, by the way. I only point this out to people in the course. I don't. This is a bit of SEO University secrets, but there's a different AI that does entity recognition and scoring for meta descriptions. Because meta descriptions are not the kind of content that titles are, that are URLs, that are body content. Spam score for this looks good. Me eyeballing it. Let's see what the AI thinks. Yeah, it's fine. It didn't find an H1 because we don't have one yet, and the body score is 0. So that's great. Meaning that it's not obviously made for SEO. There's no obviously inserted and jammed in keywords that it knows about. Let's run this again to make sure, because I changed the content. I changed the content. No, it's still fine. Okay, so that's great. So the spam score is 0, which is good. And this score very highly correlates with rankings. The lower it is, definitely there's a strong correlation to ranking number 1. The higher this is, the more it correlates to ranking spot 100. Basically, the spam score is the kind of spot you can imagine you'll get. If it's 0 or 1, you're gonna rank highly on page 1, if not spot number 1. If your spam score is 70 to 100, you're going to have a huge boat anchor on your page. I'd be very surprised if you cracked the number 1. I would be very, very surprised if you were on page 1, never mind cracked the top 5. Statistically, that is highly, highly unlikely. And again, I've checked this on thousands of records, and this is in here Because of our single variable testing in SEO University, right? I don't make extra scores for you to jump through just because I'm a sadist. Like a lot of people ask me, Josh, Surfer or whatever else it is, the other shit tools people use. They're like, Surfer or Pop or Cora only has one SEO score. Why do you have four? I'm going to use that software because it's easier to use. And my answer is, guys, if I could get away with one score, don't you think I would? I want to use this tool and actually rank too. And all my students use it and they need to rank. My business plan is to help you rank. And I publicly publish the statistics of how well people do with our tool on a semi-regular basis, at least twice a year. I'll be doing another one probably this month, end of this month, maybe December, and I'll reshare the statistics. Last time I shared them, people get on average, the average user of SEO Copilot gets a 7-spot boost on average. That across the board, people who are not even getting in the green and not even using all parts of the system properly get on average across the board for all my users a 7-spot boost. I just added a shit ton of users, so I bet you that statistic will go down. And Google just made it harder to rank. So I bet you that statistic will go down a bit, but I'm still fairly confident we're going to be over on average. We're doing right by our users. On average, they get a boost out of the system and not a minus. And that's a good thing. I ask you, what other tool even publishes that? And what other tool can brag that? No other tool. There is no other SEO tool that even has the balls to put those stats out in public. And never mind those stats being positive for their users. That's probably the reason why they don't, right? Great. So this score is the most important to be in the green. These scores need to be in the green too. And the heat is the least important to be in the green, but it really is important to make sure you have the expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, and you're serving the helpful AI, and you're serving the review or service AI that is looking at pages and seeing how well you are reviewing your particular topic, whatever it is, right? Did you do studies? Do you have pros and cons lists? Do you identify key decision-making factors? Those kinds of things. Okay, so they might ask, okay, Josh, well, great. I can get 2 scores in the green just by generating the article. That's how well it usually does right now. But then this is usually what's not in the green. This is often red as well because it jams in too many. My AI still tries to rank you. So it's going to do some SEO work and jam in SEO keywords. Usually it's these 2 things that need to be fixed. Sometimes also you need to check to see if you're allowed to use an exact match query in the content. And then you need to see if there's any missing spread keywords. In this case, there's none, which is great. No problem, RB. I'll answer them. Don't worry, I will. All right, thanks for joining. I'll give you the discount before you leave. So here's the 30% discount. I'm sharing it in the chat for you. Go to SEOcopilotai.com/pricing, and you can get 30% off on any of those prices. He says, I'm already a subscriber. Great. Glad to hear it, RB. Okay. Okay, so you have to make sure these things are pretty good too, but they're not as important as the general broad stroke scores. So you might be like, okay, Josh, how do I fix that? Well, first off, this is probably supposed to be an H1 here. Boom. How do you fix it? Well, this is how you fix it. This has not quite got all the entities we're supposed to be mentioning, enough of them that are scored up. We're not mentioning, this is good, we're not mentioning this because that would be a little bit over, that'd be a little over optimization to have on the page. But air quality testing services and then costs and benefits of air quality testing could definitely be a phrase we should add for sure. We could also add this one as well. So let's add just manually this one. There's another thing we could do. Boom. Let's take this. Actually, let's go here to CP and say, please make this title case and an H1 or an H3 actually. And CP will do that for me. I could just copy and paste it over. I might have to use the thing. No, it's already. Do you suspect you might need mold remediation? Okay, great. We just stuffed a bunch of good keywords in there and an entity that we want to use. And then costs and benefits of air quality testing is another section that we're probably going to need to add. So that doesn't have this content here. Let's put that here. Boom. Let's actually do the same thing. Okay, same thing. Okay, boom. And here I'll put this in here. Boom. And because this was not written by my generate article, it doesn't have this content. So here's a great way to get content in here. Here is a paragraph about real expert tips into 1. You should ... highlight this and hit the upscore button. Usually, if we're lucky, it's going to write you a big paragraph about this. Boom, it did. Okay, replace. Take this. Say, please edit the markdown so I can copy paste into my web page. Boom, boom, put it there. CP will go, no problem. And it'll do that for me. Boom. There we go. Okay. And we'll just take this, boom, 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 and make sure I don't copy that in. Boom. Go here. Get rid of this. The upscore button stuffed in a bunch of keywords. Boom, 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 boom. Then we're here. Okay, now, not only in one fell swoop have we added to the semantic score, boink, now we're over. We have also added in these entities, which are the topic that Google wanted to begin with in query interpretation. So that's a fantastic thing. Now you're like, okay, Josh, now what do we do? We're over here and we're over here. Now what do we do? That's what we want. To fix this, what we do is we go through, we put these scores a bit over, and then we go down to the bottom here, and we start de-ranking it. So I take the down score button, which is going to bring all the scores down, because it removes content and makes everything much more better written in active tense using better active writing. Downscore that. And I read it, and I don't like, if recent water damage has hit your home in St. Augustine, Ormond Beach, or you suspect mold might be lurking, reach out. There we go. So I can do that. Just a quick little thing. I don't want to change that. I do want to downscore this, replace, click this, downscore this. You need to do a lot. You need to do a lot to see the needles move, but the needles will move. Boom, boom, boom. Downscore this. It's removing out keywords, where it's supposed to be anyway. Now we go into the content I added, which is definitely stuffed in keywords. Reduce that. Let's just make sure we're going the right direction here. Yep, we're going the right direction. Rescore that. Rescore this. Rescore this. Actually, I already went too far. That was probably good where it is. This is only 0.1 higher. This is actually in the green now. This one is just one score higher. It'll be fine to leave it like this. I'm done. Work's done. Move on to the next page. So this was a client page that he gave me that I just edited. And it's like, okay, here you go. I added some stuff in here. In fact, I made it a little bit more useful. Talking about the costs and benefits. Great. So that's done. That's wingo, bingo, bango, done. Being one over this is perfectly fine. So that's it. It's pretty easy to do. And if it was an article that got generated by the system, what did I build on? Which one did I build? Was it this one? Oh yeah, here it is. Here you see what it did. Look at all the tables it threw in there. Look at all the key considerations and lists it did. This is a very, will be a very high quality article. What does it not like? The spam scores for all these are good. It doesn't like this title tag for some reason. It's only giving it a 30%, that's fine. It lacks a date signal. So 2024, there we go. This is fine, this is fine. The body content is like corrugated metal sheets appears too many times, being stuffed in. Corrugated metal sheets is being stuffed in too much. Okay, no problem. So what we do is go in here, we search for it, see if it comes up. Comes up once, quite frankly. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. My AI is a little strict to save people because quite often what happens is people are like, I'm going to generate any content and I'm just going to stuff the keywords in there and make this score as high as possible. So this is a score made to save you from doing your SEO self. Like if you want to have the best red apples, go to joshsredapples.com where red apples are the red apples of our red apples. Like you're stuffing red apples in there too many times. This is what it's trying to stop you from doing. It might say corrugated too much though. Might not say corrugated. Boom. Only says that once. Or no, it says it a bunch of times. Corrugated metal roofing. Yeah, it only says it a couple times. I think my AI is being a little too strict. So in this case, I'm going to ignore it. The average the average spam score of the competitor here is close. I think it's probably good to have it being mentioned. What's bad is I don't say galvanized enough or tin. Give me a paragraph where I can add this in. And CP should know the content and should be able to give you a paragraph where that could be added in pretty easily. Understanding metal roofing materials. Great. Boink. That sounds like it should go here. Boink. So now we have galvanized is now it's being said. So we'll go back here, refresh this, go here. Yeah, now we're just missing sheets. Metal roofing sheets encompasses a variety of materials. There we go. Now sheets is being said as well to have the spread and depth of keywords that you're going to want to have. But we still need to add more content. Still missing content here. It's much more helpful than the other article that was made. It has a higher heat score. Another pro tip, sometimes we get rid of the H1 and rerun the body spam score. The H1 can tend to trip it up if the H1 has got a lot of keywords in it. Yeah, there we go. Now it's like, oh, okay, everything's fine now. Great, all right. Now we put the H1 back. There we go, the H1 is fine. So that's how you get that in the green. You just gotta play with it a little bit. Do some jiggery pokery. Do the pokery and the jiggery, which is a technical term. Now again, it's down to these two guys, which are always the issue. Now this one's too high and this one's too low. So what I need to do now is I need to highlight this, do the up score button, highlight this, do the up score button, all the way down until this is above, way above, and then I would do the reverse, do the down score button from here, all the way to the top. So I'd highlight this. Let's jam in a whole bunch more keywords. Close that because it has markdown in it and I'm lazy. There you go, that's better. Boom. Take this, up score. Place, boom. Hopefully it still has galvanized. Yeah, it still has all those things in there. Good. Now I'll go down to these, up score. Down to this, up score. you see the process I need to have my AI do automatically. This upscore. This upscore. Replace, rerun this. Getting closer. Now I want to upscore this, so let's take this and do this another way. Let's say now it's telling you just ran a score. This is still too low, and it's telling you how to do it. Expand on the content. Do this. Make sure you're mentioning these things. Blah 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 blah. CP is telling you how to do this, even if you didn't take the course. Please add content to each of these bullet items. Please identify key decision-making factors that only the experts would tell you with 30 years experience in this biz. Boink. So hopefully it extends that for me. Let's see how much more content it does. Looks like it did a bit more. Oh yeah, I did a lot more. Okay, let's do this. I did a lot more, Jesus. Finishing touches, final inspection. And it even did key decision-making factors. Great. Take this. Let's replace this. Boom. Boom. Preparation. Look at this. Look at all the more it added here. Key decision-making factors, material selection, blah, blah, blah. Do we have key decision-making factors? Pros and cons? Yeah, we got different key considerations. Great. I hate conclusion. Let's just say final decision. What's in a metal roof? Like, what's in a name, Romeo? Could do it that way too. Okay, great. Let's rerun this. Boom. Ta-ta-ta-ta. Boom. This might even go down. Sometimes CP can just nail it. Boom. I could stop working on this now. It's a little low, and if I really wanted to rank in a competitive niche, this should be higher. And this is a little high, but given how uncompetitive this niche is going to be, this is finished. Done. I don't need to do anymore. Let's just make sure there's nothing here I'm not saying. Nope. Looks like I'm saying everything here I want to say. Great. Am I really on the topic? What's the topic again? Entities, score, corrugated metal roofing, information on corrugated metal roofing, options and costs, disadvantages and comparisons of corrugated metal roofing. We could add this. We could change some corrugated metal roofing options, costs, and installation. And then the E. Okay, so that has the EMQ in it though. Yeah, so we definitely have this information, but we don't say we have it. So I'm going to go back to CP and say, give me a excited, so read on for, oops. Oops. Where is it? One, two. Oh, okay, I got it. Okay. And I'll take that one sentence. Say more of the exact phrasing I gave you, please. You can get to do it again. Quarter mill options, cost of installation, read on for essential information, design and comparison, quarter mill roofing. Great. Now this is a bit SEO stuff, right? Metal roofing options and read on for essential information, advantage, and comparisons. And we'll just say that, we don't repeat it. Great. But we're very close to what those sentences were, which we were already pretty close anyway. Rerun that. Not enough content to make a difference. Okay, great. Done. Donezo. So whether you're working with the generated article or an existing client page, it's not that hard to update. I did 2 in under an hour here. I could be doing more. This is a little bit above what we'd want, but this is not a very competitive niche, so I don't really have to worry about it too much. If this page doesn't rank as well as I thought it should rank or I want it to rank, I would come back and be like, okay, well, I'm going to be a little bit more picky about this, a little bit more picky about this maybe. Because the stats are on our side. Statistically, I know what ranks. I'm not lying here. I'm not making you jump through these hoops just because I'm a sadist. Quite the opposite. I want to make this as quick and easy and as painless for you as possible. All right, guys. So that's it. That's the system. And as promised, we do have discounts. Let me give that for you right now. So I've already given you guys in the chat here the 30% off discount. Just go again here to pricing and think about how many pages you should be building per month and sign up for the right cost. Quite frankly, I like this one here because the 30% off gets you cheaper than $144 a month. But, and over $144 a month, this is where the system is the premium system. And you're going to get all the new features that we're building, including the page audit feature, where you can just click a button and run a page audit and then sell those all day long. For customers, it takes 20 minutes of work that you don't do. It takes 5 seconds of work from you. You put in a URL, you give it an EMQ, and you say, run me a report for this. And then you could send that to the competitor all day, send that to your clients all day long, or your boss all day long, and play solitaire the rest of the day, or whatever it is you like to do. No problem, Karen. She says, thanks, Josh, super helpful. No problem, Karen, my pleasure. This lets you build 150 pages a month. This is allow you to have 1 to 3 medium-sized sites or clients building like 50 pages each of them per month. I would, of course, suggest more, but you know, cost is a real factor as well, of course. I understand that. I appreciate that. So let's see. Any questions here in the YouTubes? The YouTubes, let me refresh this just to make sure I have all the questions. Rob says, RVGV, I'm not sure what that means. Esteban says, can I get the discount code, please? Okay, sure. So here we go. So here's a discount code for you guys for a whopping 30% off on all the packages. And here is the coupon code. There are limited spaces available. So by all means, grab the coupon code and sign on for that. Officer says, oh, right, I still have questions in there. Thanks for reminding me. Okay. So this was this thing. Nope. Here's this thing. Okay. So somebody asked, what do we do so guys, if you have any more SEO questions, go ahead, fire them in there for another 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'll be here. Fire in any SEO questions at all, and I'll be very happy to answer them. Okay. So one question is, what do we do if, let's say, I'm a chiropractor and my main keyword is spine adjustment, but that is too hard to rank for, but an easy one is spine adjustment course, but my business is not offering any type of course. Then what do we do? Keep searching is what you do. There is about 8 different ways of people searching and saying spine adjustment. So you just keep searching. You keep casting a wider net. You keep running more and more keyword discoveries to build more and more pages. and run more and more difficulty to build more and more pages. It is the biggest site wins that has the most content and that builds the fastest, high quality content the fastest. It is more or less the beginning of a big chunk of, I'd say like 40 to 50% of rankings of who wins, and saves you so much. And building your on-page up right saves you so much time and money and risk for all the off-page factors you need to buy and add and things of that nature. And if you're like, Josh, okay, I'm just in chiropractor, there's not a lot of pages to build. One, I say, again, hogwash, do more research. There are more pages to build, right? My AI is really good at finding keyword ideas. It usually finds thousands of keywords ideas, quite often hundreds. And so the reason I say all that is because you're right. Spine adjustment course is a little bit too far afield. It's a different thing. It's not what you're selling. You're selling chiropractic services, and spine adjustment is a chiropractic service. So that's how I would prioritize the keywords you're building on. You want to stay on the service. You want to have as many service queries as you have informational queries. What you do not want to do is have only 5 service pages and 1,000 blog pages that are information on chiropractic services, because there are some big pitfalls and liabilities there. Although you can make it work, and as long as you have everything's high quality and Google's loving everything you're doing, you can still rank really highly for service queries that are local, even if you only have 5 or 10 service pages, which you should have way more. You should have hundreds of service pages for most local plays. You should have dozens, if not hundreds, of service pages, talking about it in different ways and different aspects for different locations and different areas of the city. For Winnipeg, you'd break it down into Fort Garry, Transcona, or what we used to call Trashcona, Transcona, St. Vital, but all these different things of the chiropractors in that area, the kinds of styles they practice, and then whatever, blah 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 blah. Even if you seem to be promoting competitor content, you don't have any contact information for them there. So if you helped someone satisfy, like they do Reiki and chiropractic, and we don't do that here, well then fine, then send them off to someone else in St. Vital. And you're like, why would I be writing content to make someone else money? And my answer is SEO has been doing that since the beginning. All this media bullshit we need to do to make pages, which sadly still is a way to rank, that's the way it is, right? So it's still going to help you by showing Google that you are a good web citizen and that you are a trustworthy, useful site that they can trust for different queries, and they will trust you to answer different queries. It is a huge risk on Google's part to trust you, right? And think of it from Google's perspective. They have an increasingly ornery, grumpy user base, and social media amplifying the grumpiness way over what it truly is, and the dissatisfaction with their service way over what it is. They do not need the negative press right now, although the reverse in the Trump presidency will probably quite possibly at least have a hiatus of them being prosecuted for these monopoly clauses, I would imagine. I would not be surprised at all if Google appeals to Trump and then gets off on it somehow, gets away from it, at least for the 4 years he'll be in the office, assuming it's only 4 years. Hopefully. So that's good. There's lots of ways to make money in this environment. That's all I'm here to talk about. But the answer is, okay, Josh, I've built all that. I've done all that. I've built up every single possible page I can build. Okay, go back and redo the SEO. Check them, make sure they're good, refresh them. Refreshing at least 50% of the content is a freshness signal. That's good too. You're like, okay, Josh, I did all that. I'm like, wow, you have a lot of time in your hands. This is your only client? Okay, well then, which is fine. Again, that's not a problem. Sometimes my autism brain says things in ways that sounds like I'm being confrontational. I'm not, I apologize. Then fine, yeah, then build a spine adjustment course. Then tell your client, okay, well, you need to diversify now. We've dominated the chiropractor services niche for this area. Now is the time to diversify your income. And yes, maybe you should think about an ebook that teaches people about spine adjustment. Oh, that's a terrible idea. You need to be licensed for those kinds of things, but Fine. Add in these other things like a wellness seminar, a wellness course. Come down to the chiropractor office and get a wellness seminar. I know tons of chiropractors do this kind of thing to find more business. Diversify out into other kinds of ideas. You need to do more research and build more pages up. But I think it's definitely possible. So I don't know who asked that. I hope I answered your question well. Okay, this was an RB question, I believe, and they asked, "How do I accomplish effective?" Officer says, "Thank you. You did awesome, great." RB asked, "How do I accomplish effective internal linking if I have a number of these generated articles from SEO Copilot? It was easier to understand with pillars and clusters, but now I'm not sure." It's easy to do it wrong, and pillars and clusters are wrong, not only for the kind of content you're building and the kind of page you're supposed to have, but the kind of linking structure that those people said to do. Those people said you would do this kind of linking structure, where here's the index page, you go down to these 3 pages, and here's another cluster that would have pages that goes down to these pages, and these pages go down to these pages. You know how well these pages down here rank? Like shit. And you know what it does to the rankings of the rest of these pages? It makes them worse. You build one top-level cluster, the index page, which is the general idea, roofing or chiropractic in your area, and then everything else is a sub-page under this, and we do not give Google any other signals to demote you. So for the full answer, RB, you definitely want to join Underground SEO University. We have tons of courses on this, and this is a huge, huge factor in rankings. Getting this wrong will create like 40 to 50% derankings for you and decrease your chances of succeeding by 40 or 50%. How do you make a ranking structure for that? Pretty easily. There's really no difference between this structure in terms of the HTML you build and this structure in terms of the HTML you build. It's just maybe need to brainstorm some ways you can do this. Again, join SEO University. I'd be more than happy to help you out and tell you how this would be done. But at the end of the day, this would be the general structure. And the HTML and the CSS only needs a slight tweak. It's actually fairly simple to do. ChatGPT could do it for you in a second. And come email me. I'll give you a huge discount because you're a subscriber to SEO Copilot and to my YouTube channel. I'll give you a giant, enormous, holy shit, I can't believe you gave me that much off discount for Underground SEO University. And I'll point you towards these courses and let you have at it. Okay. And here's another question from RB. Do you recommend to take the article content right from SEO Copilot without editing? Yes. Conventional SEO will have you add videos, images, etc. Oh, I see what you're saying. So that the reader dwell time is increased. But I don't want to do this if it affects the way you've seen your system work. You can take the article content right from SEO Copilot without editing, but you're asking all the right questions, my friend. That's the right question. And the answer is, we know dozens of additional on-page ranking factors that the AI cannot do and is not in SEO Copilot. SEO Copilot, I always said I would not make a system that would hurt people, and I haven't. I've made a system that will definitely optimize most people most of the time for most queries. However, there are very competitive queries, and/or there are just other ranking factors you can use that greatly boost your on-page that is not built in. That is in some ways built into the system, but you need to add it yourself. You need to supply it in a custom knowledge base or things like that. So again, you're asking all the right questions, my friend. I'm sorry, but join. It would take me hours to explain how to do this properly anyway. I just don't have the time. It would take me hours to explain how to do this properly. We have hours of courses on this. And we have hours of courses on this. Using ranking factors that are exotic and crazy that I just found one last week that I couldn't believe. It was just unbelievable that this is a ranking factor. I don't know if Karen's still here. She can chime in to see how much she was surprised by that. But we know about ranking factors that nobody else does. And so again, email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com. Here's my email address, joshbashinsky@gmail.com for a huge SEOU discount. And I will be more than happy to get that stuff for you guys and see you succeed. Like I said, I'm your boxing coach. I'm your UFC coach. I want to see you go into the ring, and I want to see you dodge that first jab, and I want to see you Superman right cross into his face, then right kick into his shin, and then grab, bear hug him, slam him down, and ground and pound until the round is over. That is what I want you to do. That is what I teach you to do in SEO. You will be the, I don't know, I've stopped watching UFC. I'm just getting back into it. I don't know who the hot shit is now, but you will be the hot shit. You will be the Khabib. It was Khabib last time I watched. Khabib and John Jones, although John Jones has a bunch of scandals. You will be that guy who's smashing the opposition. I want you to win, is what I want to happen. Officer says, can I email me your website for an audit? It's a brand new site. Of course. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to audit it. And just remind me that you saw this here, and I'll give you a big discount too on that as well. It would be my pleasure. My audits have definitely helped save people. We have a very good audit system as well. All right, let me check to see if the tube views here. If you guys have any more questions, by all means, please go ahead, fire them away. Ask me anything. Ask me any SEO questions at all. I know the tube views is just a couple seconds behind on the broadcast. So I'll just sit here for a couple of seconds to see if we're going to get any more questions here. Let me go to the end here. All righty. If you guys have any more questions, by all means, throw them in there. All right, guys. So otherwise, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Use that discount code. There's only a few spots left. Once that code is gone, it's gone, guys. I'm only trying to get people in now. I'm not going to offer a discount for SEO Copilot forever. I will adjust the price however I need to, but I already have. I think our pricing is pretty darn reasonable to get in. There's a 2-week free trial, and you can get started for as cheap as $24 a month. And this would be okay for a tiny site that's in local, that doesn't have any competition. Doing roofing in Brandon. That this is all you need, and this would save you so much time and money that you could then start building on bigger plans here. Start going into crypto. Start going into some of these other areas that are making tons and tons of money. Right? Build up a site, sell it on Flippa, and say, look it, this is the revenue chances it had, or say, look it, this is the revenue chances that this site has here. Look, this site makes this much. I want it per month on average. Times that by 12 to get a yearly cost and sell your site for 50 grand US. Maybe this is a terrible example, but there's tons and tons of areas that you don't even have to worry about affiliate. You can just sell the site. You can try doing affiliate, see how well it works for you. If it didn't work, sell it. Flipping sites is a great way to make money and a great way to diversify your income. And now is possible completely because AI has made the construction process so much easier. All right, guys, let me just quickly check to see if there's any more YouTube questions here. Just make sure everybody has a question answered. Boom, boom, boom. All right, we're good. All right, guys, thanks very much. So I hope you really enjoy your weekend. Thanks very much for joining. Email me any SEO questions you have at all. I would be happy to give you a 5-minute answer. I can in private over email. I could be a little bit more forthcoming. And Officer says, thanks. You're welcome, my friend. Email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com. That's Josh, B as in Bob, ACH, Y as in YouTube, N as in Nancy, Pelosi, SKI@gmail.com. And there's never been a brighter time. This is like SEO in the early 2000s. There's never been a brighter time to be an SEO and to make a ton of money and have a really good life doing it. I really think it's important to diversify your income and have multiple income streams. And I have courses on how to do that. And definitely, I want to help you be successful. That's what I do, and I do very well. I'm a researcher and a tester and a teacher first. I also do that in my private life. I have 3 black belts, and that's one of the reasons why I use the martial arts examples, and I teach students to defend themselves assiduously. I could assure you. So I want to see you succeed. That's what my personal philosophy is. That's what I do. And so email me. Just say hi if you want. Email me. Let me know how your journey is going. I want to hear from you. And have a great weekend. And next week, I'm taking a Friday off. So there's no course next week, but in 2 weeks, there's another course. Don't worry, I'll send out my reminder email. And it really seems to pack the people in, so it really seems to be working well. And we're building up momentum, guys. We're building up steam. This is going to be, and probably already is, in my opinion, the best piece of SEO software that exists that nobody knows about. I'm kind of okay with that. I'd love to have more users. 5,000 to 10,000 users is my sweet spot, and I make a good amount of money, and then just be like, okay, Google, don't look at us. We're just doing SEO over here. Don't look at us, Google. We're just doing our thing, and keep running SEO University and SEO Copilot. That's the plan for the future, and it's going to work, guys. All right, guys.